She was probably one of the first women's basketball players I really grew up idolizing.
At just 22, Caitlin Clark has flipped women's basketball on its head. During college, she didn't just break records, she shattered them, becoming the all-time leading scorer across both men's and women's basketball history. In a sport where women's hoops often gets overlooked, Caitlin's packing out arenas and pulling fans from every corner of the country who travel for hours just to see her in action. One look at her game and it's obvious. This is a once-in-a-generation superstar, but not everyone's clapping for her rise. The so-called WNBA GOAT, Diana Taurasi, has been dropping some salty remarks about Clark, looking like she's trying to pull the spotlight back onto herself. It stings even more because Diana was one of Caitlin's idols growing up, someone she admired and looked up to for years. And yet, after Clark got drafted #1 overall, living out that childhood dream of making it to the WNBA,
Nobody gives me advice in the game. I wish.
Diana never once reached out with encouragement, advice, or even a simple congrats. Instead, it feels like she's distancing herself from the league's hottest new star, and fans are definitely noticing. June 30th, 2024. Mark that date, because this was the showdown women's basketball fans had been waiting for. Diana Taurasi was about to get a front-row look at the biggest thing to hit the sport in decades. Caitlin Clark live and in the flesh. Phoenix was scorching that day, with temps breaking 110 degrees Fahrenheit. The local weather team warned everyone to stay inside, but 17,000 die-hard fans ignored the heat and packed the Footprint Center just for a glimpse of the phenom everyone's talking about. For Caitlin, this was business as usual, greeting fans, signing autographs, and showing love to everyone who came to watch her put on a show, even with Diana Taurasi right there watching her every move. But for Diana, after 20 seasons in the league, this was arguably the game that mattered most in her career, whether she'd admit it or not. Think about it. The Minnesota Lynx, one of the WNBA's biggest teams, usually sells courtside seats for $257 a pop.
I'm taking Paige. Next question.
So if you had the #1 pick this year, you would take Paige over Caitlin?
Absolutely.
This game blew that kind of hype out of the water. Taurasi knew this was history being made in real time, and she wanted to make sure she wasn't just a spectator, but part of the story. And when the game tipped off, Diana came out locked in. She was running the floor, scoring at will, dropping dimes like it was nothing. Most of them going to 6 feet 9 inches Brittany Griner, towering over the competition like she just walked off the set of Attack on Titan. Quick side note, this was the first full WNBA game where I actually got to see Brittany Griner up close, and wow! The first thing that hit me was that wild claim she once made about taking on DeMarcus Cousins in his prime. I mean, come on. Prime Boogie Cousins was a beast. Watching her play, it was clear there's just no comparison. Cousins would have eaten that matchup for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Just had to put that out there. Now back to Diana Taurasi.
Yeah, when I was sitting down in my seat all the way down there, I looked in every single corner of the Footprint Center to just make sure that somebody was sitting in every single seat, and they are.
She came out firing, controlling the game, hitting her shots, looking like vintage DT. But as things heated up, you could feel it, the Caitlin Clark effect creeping in. And then it happened. Caitlin left the entire arena gasping, breaking the ankles of one of Taurasi's teammates so bad the crowd nearly lost its mind. And I couldn't help but think, what if that had been Diana? And what if Caitlin drilled the shot right after? That would have been viral in seconds. After Phoenix's hot start, Caitlin and the Fever started clawing their way back, and you could feel the momentum shift. From that moment on, it was all Caitlin Clark. She flipped the script, taking control of the game and silencing that home crowd like she owned the building. Every bucket, every pass, every move, pure electricity. Diana Taurasi, who had been all smiles early on, started looking real uncomfortable as Caitlin's confidence grew by the minute. The Fever's offense clicked like clockwork, and Caitlin's range, unreal.
Who plays the style that how Caitlin
What is the
plays?
style? Just threes?
Wow.
It's not just threes.
What is her style?
She was pulling up from deep, the kind of shots that make defenders shake their heads before the ball even hits the net. The Mercury tried everything. Double teams, traps, switching defenders, but nothing worked. Caitlin kept finding ways to torch them, and every highlight felt like another dagger to Phoenix's pride. And here's the kicker. Every time Caitlin made a big play, the cameras cut to Diana. That look on her face? Priceless. You could see the frustration, the disbelief, maybe even a little envy creeping in. It was no longer about just winning the game, it was about surviving the Caitlin Clark show, and Diana knew it. By the fourth quarter, it was clear. This wasn't just another WNBA game, it was a statement. Caitlin Clark wasn't just playing, she was owning the Mercury on their home floor. The crowd that came to see Diana's show was now screaming for Caitlin every time she touched the ball. And Diana? You could see it, she was rattled. The same veteran who's built her career on confidence and control now looked like she was fighting to keep up.
Caitlin's been able to do in her short career so far has just been nothing short of remarkable.
Every time Caitlin blew past a defender or nailed a three, Diana's body language screamed frustration. This was her house, and yet the spotlight had completely shifted. Even worse? Caitlin started dishing out flashy assists, making the Mercury defense look lost and confused. One no-look dime had the whole arena on its feet. Even Mercury fans couldn't help but cheer. That's how magnetic Clark's game was that night. By the final buzzer, the message was crystal clear. The torch wasn't just being passed, it was being ripped out of Diana Taurasi's hands in front of 17,000 witnesses. When that final buzzer rang, you could feel it in the air. This was more than just a fever win, it was a power shift. Caitlin Clark didn't just beat the Mercury, she took their soul in front of their own fans. Diana Taurasi, the legend, the so-called GOAT, walked off the court looking stunned, like she'd just witnessed the future of the WNBA take center stage and leave no doubt about who runs the show now. That's gotta sting for someone who spent 2 decades dominating headlines and highlight reels.
I'm taking Paige. Next question.
Meanwhile, Caitlin? She was soaking it all in, high-fiving fans, signing jerseys, smiling like she knew exactly what she'd just done. Changed the narrative of women's basketball in one single night. This wasn't hype anymore, it was reality. Caitlin Clark is here and she's not waiting for permission to take the throne. Taurasi tried to clap back after Caitlin's electric first quarter, but let's be real, it did not go the way she hoped. Outside it was 110 degrees, but inside that arena, the heat was way worse, and everyone knew exactly where it was coming from. Caitlin Clark cooking the Mercury defense like it was her personal highlight reel. And it had me thinking, why did Diana ever make that bold statement downplaying Caitlin's game? Who else even plays like her? That fearless, deep-range, ankle-breaking style? Nobody. Caitlin's game is one of one. Back to Taurasi, though. Yeah, she put up numbers, but the energy, weak. I was honestly disappointed because she played timid. Like she didn't even want to challenge Caitlin.
You were young yourself, and tell me if I'm wrong, weren't you named to the roster as soon as you graduated, right? You were young.
Yeah, after I won 3 national championships in a row, I was named.
Jeez. So how did you deal with that? I mean, I know Caitlin's on she's got...
I only saw her really step up once, and that was on a pick and roll where Caitlin straight up ripped the ball clean, only for the refs to blow the whistle for a foul. Even after rewatching, it was crystal clear, no foul at all. It felt like the refs were out to get Caitlin, again, just like earlier when they hit her with an offensive foul that was flat out ridiculous. The calls were shaky, and the frustration on Caitlin's face said it all. Fans have had it with WNBA refs. The calls against Caitlin Clark keep piling up, and the backlash online is explosive. But the drama didn't stop there. Another reason Diana Taurasi disappointed me was her complete refusal to actually guard Caitlin. She'd been running her mouth about Caitlin struggling against grown women, but when the moment came, Diana wanted no part of that smoke. Every single time she had the chance to step up and guard Caitlin, she passed the assignment to a teammate. Sure, her teammate's a better defender, but come on. If you're calling yourself the GOAT, then act like it.
Caitlin Clark is a superhero.
Michael Jordan didn't duck Kobe, even when Kobe was in his athletic prime, and MJ was on those late Wizards' legs. Was it fear of embarrassment? Maybe she didn't want to risk going viral for the wrong reason, like her teammate who had her ankles snapped earlier. Or maybe it was the pressure of 17,000 screaming fans in the stands watching history unfold right in front of them. And to make things worse, Diana bricked a three-pointer, only for Caitlin to snatch the rebound, push it up court, and casually drain a logo 3 right in Phoenix's face. The arena erupted, and the camera zoomed straight to Diana, who looked shook. On the very next play, Caitlin Clark baited Diana Taurasi into a steal like a rookie mistake and immediately whipped a picture-perfect assist to her teammate for an easy bucket. This is the same player Diana claimed wouldn't translate to the league. Caitlin was turning her into straight-up barbecue chicken out there. Diana's nightmare was happening in real time. How do you talk smack on national TV and then get cooked by the very rookie you tried to downplay? The humiliation was building with every possession. And then came the collapse.
I think there's so many ways that I can continue to get better, and I feel like there were so many ways I could have been even better this year.
Phoenix had a 15-point lead in the second half, a cushion that should have sealed the game. Instead, Caitlin took over, leading a furious Fever comeback that left the Mercury gasping for answers. To make matters worse, Diana herself was part of the meltdown. After bricking a three-pointer, she jogged back on defense, giving up a transition play that ended in a flagrant foul. 2 free throws and the ball for Indiana. And when Diana finally had a chance to steady the ship at the line, she split her free throws 1 of 2, only to watch Caitlin calmly step up on the other end and drill both. By then, the smirk was gone from Diana's face. In front of 17,000 fans and millions watching at home, the GOAT who downplayed Clark was now staring straight at defeat and maybe even regret.
I'm a competitor and somebody that loves to work, so it won't be hard for me to want to get in the gym and to get even better, and
When the buzzer finally sounded, Diana Taurasi didn't storm off. She just stood there, frozen, staring at the scoreboard like she couldn't believe what just happened. This was supposed to be her statement game, her chance to remind everyone why she's called the GOAT. But instead, it turned into a Caitlin Clark highlight reel that the internet will never let her live down. And the fallout? Brutal. Fans went wild online, dragging Diana for all that pregame talk and her refusal to guard Caitlin one-on-one. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, it was everywhere. Clips of her missed shots, Caitlin's logo 3, that nasty ankle-breaking crossover on her teammate. Memes popped up within minutes. Diana in flames, Caitlin crowned the new queen, and even side-by-sides comparing their stat lines.
Nobody gives me advice in the game. I wish.
Reporters tried to get a quote out of Diana, but she kept it short and icy, clearly rattled. Meanwhile, Caitlin was all smiles, signing autographs, waving to fans, and soaking in the chants of MVP echoing through the arena. By the time the highlights hit ESPN, one thing was clear. This wasn't just a game. It was a torch passing, and Diana Taurasi had no choice but to watch it happen in real time. Postgame, the arena still buzzed like it had just witnessed a championship moment, and in a way it had. Caitlin Clark walked off the court to deafening MVP, MVP chants that shook the building. Fans reached over railings, holding jerseys, phones, even shoes for her to sign, and she didn't disappoint. Stopping for nearly everyone, smiling like she knew this was the start of something historic. Social media? It exploded. Clips of Caitlin breaking ankles, hitting logo 3s, and hugging young fans were trending within minutes. One video of her high-fiving a little girl courtside hit 1 million views before she even left the locker room. Hashtags like #Clark era and #WNBA Queen were everywhere, and for the first time in a long time, the WNBA was the conversation online.
I'm taking Paige. Next question.
So if you had the #1 pick this year, you would take Paige over Caitlin?
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, Diana Taurasi's post-game presser told a different story. Short answers, no smiles, and one icy next question when asked about Caitlin. Fans weren't buying it, though. The comments flooded in. The torch has officially been passed. Caitlin owns Phoenix now. This is her league. For one night, Caitlin Clark wasn't just a rookie. She was the face of women's basketball, and everyone watching knew it. And here's the kicker. The Fever hadn't beaten a single team with a winning record all season. Until this game. Their first big win came against none other than Diana Taurasi herself. DT had talked her talk, but by the end of the night she was humbled, and finally had some nice things to say about Caitlin Clark. This whole saga, with the WNBA taking shots at Caitlin and Diana playing a major part in it, was nothing short of a circus.
Yeah, when I was sitting down in my seat all the way down there, I looked in every single corner of the Footprint Center to just make sure that somebody was sitting in every single seat, and they are.
But if you want the full story, the drama, the politics, and why the league seemed to have Caitlin Clark in their crosshairs, don't worry, I've got you covered. Click right here for the full breakdown, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.